The way I see it, someone is out to make a sequel to the requel.
What's a requel?
You're beautiful, sweetie. Let's hold questions to the end.
Stab 1 took place in Woodsboro. Stab 2 took place in college. So do we think that the killer is trying to copy the movies?
That is one possibility. Heroes now in college. Check. Suspicious new characters brought in to round out the suspect list and/or body count. Check, check, and check.
I don't like this.
But it can't just be about Stab 2.
Why not?
It would make sense if this were just a sequel. But we're not in a sequel, because nobody just makes sequels anymore. We're in a franchise, and there are certain rules to a continuing franchise.
I had a feeling.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sidney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week we are returning to our roots, if you will, by getting back into the franchise that we kicked our podcast off with. I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's actually a new Scream movie out. It was a really indie release. They really didn't market it at all. Slipped by.
I didn't see 60 billboards for it in the city of Los Angeles. Not at all.
But we're really savvy horror movie podcasters. So we hunted down this release and we said, do you know what is going to be really innovative to do on our podcast? Scream 6.
Scream 6.
Scream 6, baby. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I'll give you the log line from IMDb. And then I want to talk about everybody's first impressions and maybe second impressions also. But here's the log line. It reads, in the next installment, the survivors of the Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City. New York City, they really were like, you know how in Sex and the City, they're like, New York City is its own character in the TV show. They really were trying to do that with the marketing, the non-existent, really underground marketing for this.
Indie marketing.
Marketing that no one saw. No one saw it.
Really
we dredged the bowels of the internet and we found that those marketing pieces. Lost to time.
But Monica and I went to see it together the first time, the Friday that it came out. So I know Monica's initial thoughts at least. Sidney, what were your initial thoughts?
So I saw it with my two cousins and my other cousin's new little girlfriend. And we saw it late on a Sunday and we had a fucking blast.
Okay, tell me more.
I love that.
Our movie theater was really engaged and everybody was screaming and yelling for the characters and being like, why would you do that? It was so fun. And also the movies are back. That movie theater was so busy. When we were trying to get our tickets and stuff, me and my cousin Lucy showed up early, but Preston and his girlfriend showed up they were cutting it to the wire, and they were the only reason we were cutting it to the wire was because there was a line all the way out the theater, and that's the power of Scream.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
So beautiful what a small release can do.
I know.
It's just insane. Even though it was a small release, I assumed that every person in my vicinity at the AMC Burbank was there to see Scream. And so I saw these two girlies in the elevator and I was like, are you here to see Scream? And they're like, no, we're going to Yard House with our coworkers. And I was like, oh, well.
Why?
Weird choice to make.
Don't understand.
I thought that we had a Scream-based connection. Anyway, I told them everything I thought about the franchise. Don't worry. In the elevator ride, it went really well, and it was fine.
Making friends.
And the elevator ride was scary. It was kind of like Tower of Terror. So we really bonded. We almost died.
All elevator rides are scary.
Very scary. Chelsea and I had a very lovely lead-up time to this viewing experience, but I had a bad no good day on the day that I saw this movie, so I was jaded upon first watch, and I think that I stand by a lot of my original thoughts, which were I still had a really good time, but I was like, okay, yeah, you're doing that. that's fun. But on second watch, I had a lot more fun and I was a lot less critical. So I think your mood really defines the vibe. Yeah, shockingly.
It definitely does. Because I also, upon first watch, I mean, Monica and I saw it together, and I heard Monica having reactions and responding to the film the whole time. And Monica said she heard me sighing a lot, but I felt like I was mainly just sitting there, like unimpressed and unmoved, unaffected the whole time, being like,
Chelsea didn't
great.
even hold my hand, okay? I was
She
in
didn't
shock.
try to hold hands.
No, I kind of just like collapsed my whole body onto your body when I was scared.
That's true.
So there wasn't a lot of space for that. But so many times Chelsea was just like but like right when I was thinking, really? And so honestly, we were on the same page a lot of the time.
Monica and I guess we're both being haters on Friday.
Yeah.
Because I saw it again earlier today. And I like went back and I found a theater. And there was like very few other people in the theater, but there were some people right behind me. And I had a way better time this time. I think in part because just like, you know, I knew what the deal was this time around. And so I could appreciate what was there instead of being like, well, what's coming? Or like, oh, they didn't do this, or like, why isn't there this? Or whatever. That said, I did see on Twitter that there is an alternate poster for this movie, and in that poster it doesn't have any of the stars on it. It's just like a Times Square-esque inspired poster, and it says Stab the Musical on it, and I think it's a real shame that they didn't open with people getting killed in a Broadway theater at Stab the Musical as an homage to Scream 2, because that would have slapped.
Oh my God. That would have been awesome, but then like it would have been truly like a copy of Scream 2 so much. Like,
then they would have had a scene with
the
a musical, which would have been really fun. Just like a little Scream, a little Stab inspired song. Come on.
Oh my God.
That would have been a great section for a Demi Lovato cameo. I'm just saying.
Okay, I haven't watched her Demi Lovato song. Okay. I haven't watched her special Scream song. But then when upon second watch, because I wasn't immediately turning to Chelsea being like, you know, I realized that that's the credit song is the Demi Lovato song. And it reminded me of OG pop punk Demi. And so I really liked it. Anyway, just a side
Pop punk
note.
Demi's back, baby.
I love it.
Okay, that said, despite my brilliant, totally original ideas for the opening, that maybe, who knows, they could use maybe Scream 7, instead of being about a Stab movie, is about Stab the Musical. And what's his name? Josh Segarra, who plays the boyfriend, Danny. He said he wants to do a musical in the Scream franchise. So
Danny,
maybe that'll, maybe they'll give that to me next time.
Oh my God.
Hot. He's so cool.
There's the moment when it shows him with his shirt off. I was like, Sydney's going to go buck wild because there's chest hair in Scream.
There was chest hair, but you want to know his move, like his moment in the movie that made me go absolute buck wild?
What?
When he identified Cherry Coke on her?
No. When they were on the train and they see one of the Ghostface like people for Halloween like moving to exit, and he physically puts his body in front of Sam, and I was like, me and my cousin looked at each other and we were like, oh, we got
That's
a man. Hot.
Yeah,
that was hot.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. That's the exact moment.
Mighty good man. But literally, part of me, I was like, oh, he's the killer.
No.
I mean,
so upset.
That would have been, or maybe was, heartbreaking. I don't know how early on we're going to say spoilers. I assume anybody who's listening to this episode right now has either seen Scream right when it came out, or is listening in preparation because they want to know what happens before they go in. But
yeah, this is not a spoiler-free review. Just so you know, we don't do those. I don't know how to do those.
Well, I know. Dance around it a little, but
yeah, just for a little bit. But we're gonna get right into it. I was really proud of myself because this is the first time that I've been almost right with guessing the killer. I was pretty much right, Chelsea? I was pretty much right, except for like part of it. But like, kind of.
I believe you when you say that you were right, but you didn't whisper to me who you thought it was. You just after the movie ended, you went, I knew it was them.
Well, I'm not gonna say that to you. That's so fucked up.
I'm just saying I can't corroborate that you were right from the
Okay.
beginning.
I
was not privy to that
I'm not
private
lying.
thought.
I will put my hand on the Bible and I will go before the judge and I will say,
Put your
This is the
hand on
thought
a
that I had.
DVD of the original Scream.
oh my God, I'll do it. That's pretty crazy.
If I ever have to do jury duty, that's how I'm going to be sworn in. Be like, I
Oh my
brought my
God.
own Bible.
So
Thank you.
important.
Yeah, let's
Is that how
you
it
gotta
works
swear on
for
something that
jury
means
duty?
something to you.
I
Come
don't
on.
know.
That's how it works if you're like a Congress person, I think.
I don't know.
You should
I've
run
never.
for Congress.
Okay, I can run for Congress. Me with an
I
original
believe in you.
Scream
I believe in
VHS.
you.
If Ben Savage is doing it, you can do it.
Whoa.
That's deep.
I know, right?
Okay. Anyway, back to Scream. I want to talk about the opening because despite being a hater the first time around when I saw the movie, I was very intrigued by the opening.
Yes.
And I thought it was going to go kind of a different way than it ended up being, but nonetheless, I liked it. Samara, I thought did a great job. She always is great. Love that she
Such a cutie patootie.
buddied back up with her ready or not little pals.
Love that she got to
and she
do
got-
her natural Australian accent.
Yes, I
Yeah!
loved that.
They were just like, whatever, she can have just moved to the city. It's fine. Just do whatever you're gonna do.
New York is a metropolitan area.
People come from all
Yourself.
over.
An international city.
Yeah.
Wow. But I loved that they had a killer reveal right away. Like, I thought that was so interesting. I was like, oh my God, they're doing something totally different. I think this is actually kind of what made me a little bit of a hater, is they did that. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing something totally new and fresh and different where we know the killer from the beginning, but we don't know what's going to happen. And the characters don't know. But then they like axed that. And so I was like, oh, it's like, I still liked that on its own, but I was like, oh, so it's just a normal Scream movie after that.
I had
Well-
the opposite reaction. I was like, oh, they're gonna fucking reveal the killer? What are we gonna do the whole goddamn movie? I don't get to guess. I know that it's fucking Zero from Grand Budapest Hotel the entire time. I love that actor. I hate to see him be mean. But yeah, I was like, wow, okay. And they're gonna kill the professor who's all smart and knows about horror. And then I was just upset. I was just in a bad mood, okay? But I loved it the second time around. I was like, this is brilliant.
I love how she talks about, she's like, yeah, I do 20th century slashers. Like, you can really look at like what's really happening in pop culture by watching the movies of the
zeitgeist.
time. And I'm like, so true, bestie. I want to take your class. Could you
I
imagine?
am.
Maybe
love to
I
see
would have
that syllabus.
maybe I would have actually
Seriously.
graduated college if I could have taken 20th century like slasher classes.
I would have preferred that way more than the history of the American sitcom class that I took, because yes, I did take that.
That sounds
I love
cool, though,
American
too.
sitcoms though.
I didn't have fun classes at my school. Damn.
That's
But
because
yeah,
you go to
I
smart
mean,
people school, Chelsea.
no, smart people
communication
schools should still
majors.
have fun classes for smart people.
I really liked the opener. It was so much better than the fourth Scream opening, which is my absolute least favorite Scream opening. This movie, it clearly parallels Scream 2, right?
Mhm.
Like they're
Yeah.
in college, they are all this kind of stuff. So it wasn't as strong of an opening as Miss Jada Pinkett Smith's one,
Yeah.
but I
How
did
That's why I'm
like.
saying musical.
But here's the thing, I did like that they got another like very famous actress to
Mhm.
do it in the
Yeah.
lieu of, and made it something different. Like they're not just in a house, all that kind of stuff. That was fun. Very interested to see who will be in Scream 7's opening because it was Cotton. So part of me wonders if it'll be Gail who dies in the opening of Scream 7.
No.
I would reject that. That said, there are ideas that I would love to see from Gail in Scream 7. And, you know, they could be Kirby as well, potentially. But I don't want to talk about my future ideas just yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll stick to the movie we saw first, but I do have ideas. I have thoughts.
I think for me, even upon first watch, like the very beginning of it with the Samara weaving part, that was the part that pissed me off at first. But I really liked what they did with oh well, it would be cool if I knew his character's name. Zero
Jason.
from Jason.
Jason.
Oh, Jason.
Greg and Jason.
Greg and Jason. Yeah, I liked what they did with Jason, like once he got back to the apartment. I thought it was hilarious. The whole setup of their apartments. Also, just saying their apartments are way too big for what a college student could afford in New York. This is fucking ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
That's what I thought. How are they affording this? How does their apartment have in-unit washer and dryer? I have questions.
Here's my pitch. I think that Quinn, their third roommate, was covering a lot of the rent, potentially. She has a police officer's dad. I know you're like, police officer's dad, how can he afford that salary? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. They make so much in overtime. And I can imagine that she, like, maybe they didn't have a place when they did their Craigslist ad that she found them on. They were just like, we are definitely going to need a roommate because Jenna Ortega is a student and is probably not working. And even though Melissa Barrera is not a student and is working at least 2 jobs, I think she says, that's not going to be enough to cover 2 separate bedrooms in New York of that size. But I think that she would be able to be like, my dad is a police officer, so he wants me to live somewhere like quote unquote safe. So he's willing to cover more of the rent than is like really my fair share so that we can have this apartment. I think she'd be able to spin that.
Well, that doesn't say anything about Jason's apartment though, but it's fine.
I guess they do say that they are
be
2 rich guys from Atlanta.
That's true.
And they could be upperclassmen too.
A lot of shout outs to Atlanta in this movie. Like
Yeah.
Jason and Greg are from Atlanta. Kirby works in the Atlanta field office. Like, did they film this in Atlanta? And I, who lives 2 hours away, did not know.
They filmed it in Canada, I think, or at least that's what Chance, who was on our Candyman episode, told me.
Friend of the pod, Chance.
Friend of the pod, Chance, because I was annoyed at first that it was set in New York, that they made it such a big deal that it was set in New York, and then I felt on the first viewing at least that they didn't do that much that was like New Yorky about it. I feel a little better about it on second watch, but Chance was like, yeah, it's fucked up that they made New York such a big deal and then they filmed in like Vancouver. And I was like, what? But that's showbiz, babe.
That's showbiz. But back to the very beginning, I just want to touch on, I love all the little horror, like niche horror references that they made in the beginning, similar to what they did in the last movie, where we had Jenna Ortega talking about the Babadook and all of that. Like, I just thought it was hilarious that like he got a C- on his Giallo paper. It's fucking hilarious. He's got a Last Podcast on the Left poster on his wall. Like, they did a really thoughtful job of the set design in that, and I like the little bits that we learned about this character, this like fucking pedantic ass guy who's like so obsessed with horror that he's becoming like Ghostface. It was really, really funny, and it was great to see a killer be like tortured by the same thing he's trying to be. Like, psychologically, I was like, yeah, get him.
Here's the thing about men on the internet, and I'm so sorry if you are a man on the internet listening to this, but like they can be such incels sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like the man on the internet, like normal man on the internet to incel pipeline is a very short hop, skip, jump away. And
well,
it
those
is
algorithms will lead you right to it sometimes too.
And like as a woman in real life
Seriously.
and on the internet, like that's real scary to me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
And I mean, I think what is also alarming about it is that he seems to have like some camaraderie, some friendship with Tara. So clearly
he's already
he is
infiltrated the group.
They're in the same film class.
he's passing as normal to some degree at least. I mean,
They don't
I
like
don't know.
him. They call him a chode later on, which is
That's
hilarious.
because they know he's an incel.
I think Tara was chill with him, but I feel like we're supposed to, at this point in the film, be like, Tara's doing so bad because she wants to hook up with one guy who's a little skeezy.
And we've all been there. It was college.
Yeah, I didn't take it like that. I think it was just like, oh, she's drunk at a party. But I guess that is a good, I can see that read.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they were trying to do, at least. Did they accomplish that super well, showing us that Tara was not doing great? I think no, because it seemed, other than that one moment, that Tara was pretty well adjusted. She's like, has friends that she's going to the party with who are not her friends from Woodsboro. She like is talking to somebody that she met from class. She seemed okay until she was like, yeah, I guess I'll go to your room, which again,
She just
to
wanted
me
some
was not even that.
fireball.
Yes,
That's
to
what I was
me,
saying.
not that
That would-
concerning at all until they were all like, wow, really scary for Tara.
That would get me into a stranger's room as a 32-year-old adult woman. Did you say fireball? I am right there. Thank you.
I bought fireball over the weekend. It was a gift, but I did buy it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was weird too. I was like, okay, they're being really protective of her, but then that guy, I think the context that we didn't get until later is that he is a known skis bag, and that's why they're all like alarm, 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 because everyone know that Frankie is a fucking freak and stay the fuck
Didn't they
away
call him
from
like
him.
date rape Frankie
Date rape
or something like
Frankie.
that?
Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah.
And he did grab her by the arm to start
Yeah.
dragging her up the stairs. I
Yeah,
mean, so
then
he's
it
more
was
than the
clear.
average skis.
Then it was clear.
Mm-hmm.
That he needed to be tased in the balls. Maybe not
I-
tased in the balls, like
No,
but also
I
like
think that's
absolutely.
fair.
I loved that. I was like, you go, girl. I support you
get him.
wholeheartedly. But you know
Honestly.
who I don't support?
Who?
Judgmental therapists.
Oh my
He was a
god.
shit. Yeah, he was not good at his job.
That was
I'm
so
like,
fucked
you are
up.
a
He was-
professional.
And also, I mean, I know that they say that she's been seeing him for 6 months, but the fact that they haven't even touched on anything, and then she's finally like, okay, I'll tell you, and then he immediately goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I don't not buy it, because I guess there are terrible therapists out there, and probably there is a therapist out there who's willing to like take her money for 6 months without making any sort of progress
yeah.
and rapport building even at all. Like, that's fucking crazy, but I guess. But yeah, he was terrible. There were a lot of terrible dudes in this movie, except for the guys in the bodega who were great and they were heroes.
Why
Oh,
did so
Justice-
many bald men have to go down on that day? It was bald man after bald man. That's it. It was just those two, but still, I was shocking.
That was a lot of bald men.
It was a lot. Immediately, 1-2 punch, or stab. I guess it was actually a lot of stabs. It was terrible.
And shotguns.
And shotgun. I think the bodega scene was really fucking fun. I agree with you, Chelsea. At first watch, I was like, they didn't do enough New York stuff. I was talking to Claire from Sunday Scaries. She was also agreed. But the thing that was really bothering me, like, was just like, I thought it should be like all, I don't know. I just thought it should be the big main showdown should have something to do with it at all. But also
Should have been on
I
the
do like-
Empire State Building.
on
Should
the
have been
tip top of the Empire State
Why
Building.
didn't they chase up the Statue of Liberty?
They literally talked about how they just didn't want like New York to be a character in like the directors talked about how like they didn't want it to be in like iconic New York things. They wanted it to feel just like you were a regular person living in New York.
No, like who fucking goes to Times Square? I mean,
Like-
I've been there and I didn't want to be there. Like
Every time I would go to the iHeart buildings when I'm there, it's like you have to walk through Times Square and I want to kill myself every single time.
it's really intense. I don't like seeing the bootleg Mickey Mouses. They're very scary looking.
I don't like seeing those on
I
Hollywood Boulevard either. So
I respect the hustle, but it's always like something that will haunt you in your nightmares. It's like doll month material. It's not good. But yeah, I think the bodega scene really nailed the New York vibe. It just really sucks how many so many pedestrians get fucked in this one. Especially
But-
in that scene in particular.
at least no bodega cats were harmed in the
So
free
important. Thank
Ghostface.
God.
Thank God.
They're
No
already
New York
doing
rats?
enough to alienate their watchers here by not having Sidney in this movie. But
I know.
if they also killed the bodega cat, they would have lost us completely.
Yeah, I will say I think that also really added to my hater experience the first time
Yeah,
around,
same.
that there was no Sidney, and I like knew that there was not going to be any Sidney because it would be a terrible, stupid, bad, wrong PR move to shit on themselves as a like studio and as a production by not giving. Can you say her name for me?
Neve Campbell.
Neve Campbell.
I said candle. I said candle.
Neve Campbell.
Neve Campbell.
One day, the right answer is going to be ingrained in my brain, but I will
Neve.
never trust myself.
Never ever is that gonna happen.
We're never gonna get her name right.
Wait, never ever is a funny one. Okay, maybe that'll help me in the future.
Yeah, I thought a little mnemonic device for you. I'll never get that right. Oh, Nebs. There you go. Wow, I solved it. Got you. The
Gorgeous,
Candle
thank you so
Campbell,
much.
though, you've entered
that
my
was
brain. How
just-
dare you?
Yeah.
What were you going to
It would
say
have
about
been-
Neb?
Yeah, what I was saying was it would have been a very weird PR move to be like, yeah, we just didn't want to pay her the money that she was asking for. And that's how we're making people believe that she's not here so that we can bring her back. So like I kind of knew there wasn't gonna be a Sidney surprise at all. The second time when I like really knew there wasn't going to be anything and I already knew what the Sidney ground would cover, I like felt better about it. But the first time, as soon as they were like, Sidney's not coming, she's safe with her family and she's getting the happy ending she deserves, I was like, yes, Sidney deserves a happy ending and I want that for her, but I think it is fucked up for you to say that and put the responsibility on Sidney for not coming back when Neve was willing to come back, when you wrote what was seemingly a substantial role for Neve to come back too, but then you just didn't want to afford what she costs, and so you were like, actually, she chose not to come back. No, you chose not to pay her.
No, I totally agree with you. There's this great Collider article about exactly that, and it just feels fucked up that like Sidney gets her happy ending, but Nev's not getting her happy ending. She's not getting paid what she deserves. So it just feels like it would have been weird if they said nothing, but it's just like annoying. It's just like grating, but the phrasing.
I hate what happened like in real life to our girl, but like I didn't miss Sidney in this movie.
Yeah, and I think I would have been happy to have this movie as it is without Sidney if that had always been the plan. Like if they had always been like, we're ready to move away from Sidney with this franchise, or if Neve had been like, I'm ready to move away from this franchise and let Sidney have the ending that she has, or some off-screen mention of a happy ending. But for them to have wanted her to come back, have written a script where she comes back, she is down to come back, but then it all falls apart over money when she is literally the star. And like, I mean, it's not that Dewey and Gail weren't also really big parts of the first 4 or 5 movies, but they were never
3.
like, it wasn't like their emotional journey at any point in any of those films. So it just feels like it makes me a little infuriated.
Disagree with Scream 5, but yeah.
Sure. But like, it makes me mad and really defensive of her and of her character that they just like didn't want to meet what her ask was.
Okay, but what if, I'm going to speculate going on for further movies. So they didn't pay her in this one, right? But this one has made so much money, right?
That's what they said about the last one. They said it made so much money.
You did. Let me finish. I coughed.
Okay. Well, I took my
Choking.
opening.
Give her a second.
No
Dying.
mercy. My turn to talk now.
Sydney's out here dying. God.
Dying for the cause.
Finally, my turn to talk.
But Sidney was like, I've taken my family somewhere safe.
Mm-hmm.
But guess who finds where she is?
Is
Stu.
it Ghostface? Oh.
Stu as Ghostface.
Okay.
who has
They
come out of
did-
hiding because they vaguely
Yeah.
do a
They
thing.
reference him. Yeah. No,
And they're-
Mindy, our girl, my
and
favorite
Kirby.
girl, and Kirby, they're like, if he's even dead. I love that scene, by the way. Where they're like swapping movie facts and their faves, and they all are aligned. And I was like, gay babes unite, because Kirby's gay, as we discussed ad nauseum 2 years ago. If you don't remember, go back and listen.
Yeah, I mean, I think we broke down our thoughts and feelings about Stu coming back to the franchise when we did Scream 5, or quote unquote Scream. But I think they laid a little more groundwork for it this time around by being like, if you believe he's really dead, and like saying it out loud for the audience to hear, instead of the audience just like noticing the Easter egg YouTube video in the background last one.
Yeah.
That said, their whole bit with the TV at the end, I felt like kind of doubled down on like, this can be a killing blow. So I
No,
think
it's just
they like
foreshadowing
undercut
for him to
themselves
come
a
back.
little bit. Maybe it
Well,
was
I
just
think
enough
that
of
they-
like,
I think it
remember
would've been
Stu?
too
Remember all the stuff
obvious.
about Stu?
I think it would have been too obvious if it had just been like, Mindy's like, oh yeah, he could be alive. And then like, that's it. And then the next movie, he's the killer. You know what I mean? Like the Mindy told you that last time. But because they had the TV kill, it's like, oh, well, he's probably not alive. But I saw an article that said, this is what the creators think.
Mhm.
After this movie about Stu being alive or dead. Now I'm not going to read it. I don't want to know. I want to still believe every movie that it's going to be Stu. And I don't want to know.
Mhm.
I don't care. Fuck them. They don't know. They're not
I
in
do.
charge. I'm in charge.
Okay, wait. I want to say it now. Actually, I don't want to wait until later. What I wanted from this movie when I saw the opener was like a Ghostface who's going after other Ghostface for the whole film. And I thought that was really interesting. And then for a moment when they were like, Gale could be Ghostface, I was like, what if Gale was a Ghostface who went after other Ghostface and was trying to like subvert Ghostface killings by being Ghostface? And I also think Kirby could
Say
do a
Ghostface
Ghostface who
again.
goes after other Ghostface. But if Kirby or Gale is doing that, you could have like a Stu behind bars who's like consulting on the case or whatever.
I think Gail would be an incredible Ghostface.
I don't want her to just go evil against our main characters, but I would
Yeah.
love if she went a little evil against other people. That would be fine for me.
Nah,
I
I'm
wanna
ready to
see
see
Gail
Gail go
kill.
berserk.
Berserk. She's like, Dewey's gone. I've got nothing left
Nothing
to
to
live
live
for.
Okay, here's something
Bleak.
about Gail that I don't know my feelings on yet, so I'd love to hear your feelings. I feel like they bring her back every movie or every other movie and go, remember the character development that Gail had in the last movie? Forget that, actually. We're
Yes,
starting
thank
back at the
you.
beginning. But also, I kind of am like, well, that's just Gail. Gail's always going to be Gail, and she's always going to write her book, and she's always going to be looking out for number one. Like, I can't decide if I like that. Gail's just always going to be Gail, or if I think it is so obnoxious that they reset her
Gail.
every time so that they can put her in, like, the plot role that they need her to occupy.
Gail will be Gail. I think, though, that, like, this time she should have done a podcast instead of wrote a book.
No, she should have still been Gail, but Kirby should have done a podcast or the short form true crime genre that Gail made the joke about. Why is she in the FBI other than they needed somebody in law enforcement, I guess? But she should have been the podcaster. She's so interested in the movies. She was so all about the stab stuff. Like I can see her being on that journey after being involved, but it's not what I wanted for her.
Yeah, I don't think that she would do that because it's like a very harrowing experience. She didn't have that, like, she doesn't have the Gale of it where she's like gonna like get her stardom either way, no matter what.
I can't imagine Kirby being as good as an investigative journalist than our girl Gail, as we see in this movie. Literally in this movie, when Gail's like, it's called investigative journalism, Kirby. Do your job.
Well, That was a good plot device though for putting more doubt on Kirby, so you would believe it later on when she's accused of being the killer. It's just like, how did she miss something that Gail got? Not that Gail is bad, it's just like she's in the fucking FBI. Like, how
You
did
want to
she
know
miss this?
what?
You know, unless she missed it on purpose.
What like was my first suspicion of Kirby was the bad wig that she was wearing.
Monica also
The
shouted
wig
out her
was
wig.
super
Yeah.
bad. The wig was not
like it was
good.
so
A certain pin of
distracting.
tears too hot for that. Come on, don't give us that.
Yeah, I don't know
Wrong.
why she was wearing a wig, but they could have opted for a better one, at least, I think. But I mean, what were we saying one moment ago pre-wig? Oh, the investigative journalism stuff. There was like an in-universe like reason for that as well. Where I think like she says, I looked at their financials and I didn't see anything. And we know from the end that like Jason and Greg didn't actually set up the shrine at the theater. So it makes sense that she got like blinded by the resources that she has, that she didn't look like beyond that to do any additional looking around. But I think that she doesn't have to be like the star if she's doing a podcast or a true crime investigation or whatever. She could still like just do it from like a reporting aspect, from trying to get to the bottom of things. I think it would make sense to give her like a mistrust of law enforcement, considering how many Ghostface killings have not been stopped by law enforcement up to this point. But I guess I'm fine. I mean, I don't like her in the FBI, but it brings something to the future of the franchise, I guess, for them to have someone in law enforcement now that they don't have Dewey.
Yeah. At least she's not a
I
cop.
see it as it's utilitarian, but I hate it vibes wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the lore of Scream. But I mean, well, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I like that she's like in the FBI over being like a cop, you know. If she's in the FBI, you know, the Criminal Minds crew is in the FBI. So
wow. Oh, so she's messy.
I love them, and so I love Kirby. At least it's fancier than being a cop. Like, meanwhile, even though we've loved Dewey for years, the second the cop came on the scene, I was like, suspect, a cab. Like, no, thank you, cop dad. I'm not interested in you. But yeah, I mean, I think we need to take a moment to talk about our core four though. Because I'm really happy with the people who made it out of the last movie. And I think that I think it's really cute and smart what they're doing for the franchise to like get you another group of people that you really care about and care about their relationships together. I feel
core
like
four, baby.
Core four. I feel like they keep giving Mindy like the funniest things to say, but making her a little bitch. Whenever she gets slashed, she gets like the tiniest cut, and she's like, like dying. And I'm just like, it's your arm. Literally later on in the movie, Jenna Ortega is stabbed in the stomach and the back, and then still does like crazy fucking shit. But like Mindy gets slashed in the arm, and she's just like down, like writhing on the ground as Annika is being sliced in half, literally. Like, so I wish that they would give her more badassery, but I guess we gotta leave something on for the next movie. But I really liked how they like brought them together, because last movie it was a pretty nebulous group. It was like a huge friend group, and which was smart, so you could pick them all off. But
and whittle it down
really
to 4.
Yeah. And I think you said this to me, Chelsea, but they're really making Chad out to be like the new Dewey. Kind of not quite as dopey. Love you, Dewey, but not nearly as dopey. But like he's bringing that comedic level and the one-liners and that sort of
and the
thing.
sexiness. I had a weird realization that I guess I did not realize at Scream 5, and that Chad is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son, like the actor who plays Chad.
It's so shocking to me.
Shocking. I was shocked.
I feel like I was so shocked when you guys said earlier that you didn't know that, because I thought that was part of the discourse when they did Booksmart, was that Everybody thought
I
he
had
was
no
like
idea.
a fresh-faced up-and-comer, and then it turns out that he was a major star's child.
I
had
literally
no
didn't even
idea.
realize that he was in Booksmart. I only saw
I
that
didn't
once.
know he was in Booksmart.
He's cute
either,
in
and I've seen
Booksmart.
that. I know him from Love Victor, which I watched all in one day, and I had a great time.
He's
and
also what is that? I didn't see it because the heights thing, but where that lady is like free climbing on
Yeah, he's in the
tower.
fall.
Yeah,
Fall.
47 meters down, 2,000 feet up.
yes,
Yes.
He's the husband who dies in that.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Fuck you. How dare you spoil that for me?
That's
I'm mad.
premise,
That's in
baby.
the
That's
trailer.
premise.
That is in the
That's in the
trailer.
trailer?
Yeah.
I watched the trailer. Well, I didn't
Yes.
see that he died. And it's upsetting to me.
Yeah,
That's
that's not a
literally her
spoiler.
whole
That's premise.
point.
The most important thing that we have
I
to
haven't
say
seen the
about
movie, and I know
Mason
that.
Gooding is that I saw him at my gym, and he is so hot that I
Monica's
almost
very
passed
excited
out.
about this.
I am never gonna get over it. He goes to my gym. Yeah, you're all jealous. I'm not gonna tell you which gym. Just so
Tell me
you know.
later.
I
She's
told you
gatekeeping.
already.
don't
Of course
remember.
I'm gonna gatekeep this. I don't want people to stalk him. That's not good. But I did
Or you.
almost. I
Defend
almost said
yourself,
hi to
Monica.
him. I almost said hi to him. I wanted to say, I hope you don't die in the next in the movie because it was the week before. But I
I
wanted
love
to
your
say,
work.
excuse me, and I said, excuse me. I like whispered. And like the girl I have a crush on in the front desk was like, I saw you fail at that. And I almost helped you, but that I wasn't sure if that would be worse. And I was like, I'm really glad you didn't say anything. But I'm also mortified that you're saying something now. Anyway, he is very sexy in person, and he made my friend almost pass out, and she didn't know who he was. She was like, that's the hottest man I've seen in person in a long time. So great job. 10 out of 10. And
Good
at
for
first I
him.
was like, do I like at first I icked at the Jenna Ortega excuse me, I will say her character name, Tara Chad romance, but
Not
by
me.
the end I was fully into it, 100%, 10,000% screaming.
I loved it because who else is gonna know what they've been through?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was one moment where Tara put her head on Mindy's shoulder, and I was like, oh, but I've already moved on from it. I actually released that idea after the first time I watched it.
One thing that I was not expecting from this movie is not one, but two sudden face grab kisses.
That's true.
What was
You
the
get-
other one?
You get Sam with Hot Neighbor,
Yes!
which might
Danny.
have been that was so sexy. They have great chemistry, and
They
they like
do.
look good together. You know,
Yeah.
like, and
I
you
also
wouldn't
yeah.
always suspicious of a new love interest, and so you're like,
Mhm.
what
But he's
is
so
happening?
charming. It would have legit
Yes.
broken my heart if it had been him. I would have been so upset. He's only allowed to play good guys to me. I'm sorry.
I was fully expecting it to be him, so I was like bracing myself the entire time. I was like sitting in a little ball in my big movie chair, and I was like, "Ugh,
I'm
It's
so
gonna be a
glad they
hot
didn't do that
neighbor.
2 movies in a row. That would be so fucked up if they
Okay,
did that
but-
to Melissa Barrera 2 movies in a row.
But here's the thing. The killers from last time and the killers from this time are so fucked up for Sam.
Oh yeah, they're still fucked up. But at least they did fucked up different, you know.
True.
Yeah. At least it's, well, I guess one, we haven't exactly said it yet, but I also feel like we said, this is not a spoiler-free podcast, so I'm going to say it now. One was her roommate. So
Yeah.
they lived together
That
for
was so
6
fucked up.
months.
Okay,
Yeah.
she just was so sus to me from the beginning. Can I tell you what I thought? This is what I thought. The
Yes.
second that I met Quinn, is that her name?
Yes.
Quinn. I thought she was sus because I was like, she cock-blocked them on purpose, and she's evil for that. She's dead to me for that. Though I do think that she's hot and good for her for being sex positive. But when she said
Well,
that,
she
like,
calls
her...
somebody a whore later on, which I felt was very out of character for the sex positive girl.
That's because she wasn't really sex positive. It was all an
Okay, for
act.
me, but not for thee. That's a lie.
Yeah. Well, the
Anyway,
thing
sorry,
is,
continue.
my theory was really stupid in retrospect, but it was the core of it was right. But you're gonna be like, Monica, do you know how time works? And I'm gonna tell you no, and it's not linear, and so my theory could be correct. Anyway, moving on. This movie is like a redo of Scream 2, right? And so when Quinn was like, my brother died a year ago, I was like, she's lying. It wasn't a year ago, for one. And then she was like, me and my daddy are so sad. And I was like, her brother was Timothy Oliphant, or whatever the fuck his name is, from Scream 2, the killer from Scream 2.
So close though.
I was okay. It is the same thing in essence, though. It is. It is. It's the wrong guy, but like, I was like, it's gonna be them because she's being sus as fuck. I don't trust this fucking cop. And then I didn't think that the curly hair boy would be
Ethan.
one of the killers, but I was like, why is he not like? Why are they doing nothing with him? I was like, there's literally nothing happening with him, like, at all. He's not even saying anything funny. Like, last movie, they had all these extraneous characters, but they'd have, like, a good
Quippy
moment
thing.
or two. Yeah, every once in a while. I thought his quippy things were boring and annoying.
My
Con.
first thought about Ethan was, is that Evan Peters? And then my second thought
That's mean
was,
to Evan Peters.
It's actually
Why
Spider
did-
from Avatar: The Way of Water.
yes. But then my
Who is it?
second Spider from the second Avatar movie.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing.
I've
My
not seen
second
that.
thought was, he kind of looks like Jack Quaid a little bit. Why'd they cast him? And then moved on and didn't think of anything
Genius.
else. Because it was just like,
Genius.
I was like, but I was like, why is Evan Peters in this? And then I realized, oh, it's not Evan Peters. Why would they cast somebody that looks like Jack Quaid and not let him do anything? Oh, well, forgot about him completely.
Gotta
Amazing.
turn
Trust
your
your
brain off, let
instincts.
instinct take over.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they had cast Evan Peters as a freshman in college. That would have been an egregious
I was so
miscast.
confused.
No, I can see it though. He's like he could grow into an Evan Peters. He's still very young.
He'd be
Yeah,
a
I
great
mean-
little Scream King.
I will say Ethan and Quinn had a good moment during the Mindy trope breakdown scene when she was talking about the rules of franchises, because they both were like, okay, well, if anybody is a suspect and anybody is vulnerable, then you guys could be suspects too. And they make a good pitch for that. And obviously we
the
know
trauma aspect of it. Yeah.
Mhm. Obviously, we know now that they were like trying to deflect suspicion from themselves and also building out their continued narrative that Sam actually is the one who's terrible. But it was like a nice moment for them, at least. Although, why would he say, am I gonna die a virgin, if he knows what the deal is? Why would he's just like throwing that out there to be like, actually, I'm a little pathetic boy. Nobody suspect me.
I think he was trying to be like, I'm a little bitch, and so
I'm
you're not
just a
gonna
little baby
expect
boy.
me ever. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I can't hit on Harry Potter girl at the party.
Harry Potter girl was hot though. So
He was hot. We also were enjoying the like very quick, brief, and then done chemistry between Chad and Ethan in that scene where they're like,
oh, that was gay.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, ooh, and then I was like, okay, never mind. All right, fine. We're moving on to Jenna Ortega. I get that. That's fair.
Yeah.
She looks very cute in that little headscarf, so I get it.
But the second that they were on screen together being bros, Monica and I were like, oh my god, it's happening.
Hey, Chad. He could be bi. You know, he probably
He could
is.
be.
He's bi. There you go. We've made it happen. It's
There
on
we
the internet
go.
now.
We've
There we fucking
established.
go.
Annika also didn't really have much to do.
Who?
No, I wish
Annika?
Annika had
Did he scroll
more.
Annika. Well, she died so
wish-
soon.
I wish she had more screen time and we like got to build more. Like we got to see a little bit of her like standing up to Tara. She did get that great one-liner saying like, what was it? Like I want to know absolutely nothing about you like at the party. So we know she's a down bitch. But also
yeah.
if
And her name rhymes with my name.
And
But
she and
here's-
Ethan swap hats at one point on their walk home, which I thought was like a cute friend group moment.
I loved the Ghostface in the apartment scene because it was like so small and like really like high tension.
Yeah.
But when they are climbing through the ladder from apartment to apartment over the little like gap in the building, why didn't Annika go first? Like she's hurt. Like shove her across.
Yeah. I mean, I think her whole
I
thing
think
was that she
thought
was
she
like, I
gonna die.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because she like, I was like, I didn't even know how she was still alive then, because they like
Yeah, they
turned the
gutted
knife in
her.
her and pulled it all the way up. Like that's how they killed Dewey in the last one, doing almost exactly that. So I thought she was gone right then and there. They made the bitches resilient this movie. But yeah, that was another good New York-y thing to do though. Like, showing the close together buildings and and that sort of thing that was fun. That said,
Where
I
was the fire
mean, it
escape?
was
You need to have a fire escape also.
yeah. It was between buildings. It was like a atrium thing though. So I feel like the fire escapes are on the front. Well, no, every unit should have a fire escape. Maybe there's a fire escape on the front window and not on the other one. I don't know how
On
it
the
works. I don't know
bedrooms?
fire codes. I don't know. I have no idea. But I did like that death. It was cool. It was very cool, and I love that they showed her smashed face, even though it was super
Well-
fucked up. I was like, damn.
This movie, like, none of the screams are like necessarily like scary, right? Like they build really great tension. It's always kind of like a cat and mouse whodunit, like what's happening kind of thing. Ghostface is normally a little like bumbling idiot too, which is always really fun. And he's now
Yeah.
become less bumbly idiot,
Yeah.
but more gore. And I kind of really love it. Like when I
do
tell
love the
you,
gore.
I gasped when we see when we go like back to the beginning and we see Greg's like cut up body
Yes.
in the refrigerator.
That was sick.
I like gasped. I was like, oh! And then we see
Oh.
later Quinn's
There's also
like
a picture on the fridge of like a little Casey Becker-esque girl with her little blonde bob.
they're also watching Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah,
fact.
and the therapist is
Yes.
watching the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Snatchers. And
That's so funny.
but I also love like when they're like running around and they're going to shut the other door. We see Quinn's like, what does she call him?
Her
Paul?
paramour.
Yeah, and he is just like
That one's not Paul.
Paul.
That one is like, who's Paul?
Paul. Oh yeah. But it's like he's just in the bathtub, like covered in blood. Like this movie
Just wrecked.
gives me so much blood and so much gore, and I love it.
No, I love that.
Well,
And
here's
also,
what's-
thank you for saying that, because I was this whole time when there's that great monologue from Mindy, and she's like, it's a franchise now, and there can be anything goes. There are beheadings, all this stuff. They made a huge
Beheadings.
deal about beheadings. And then I was like, they didn't do anything with that. And then I watched it again, and they did twofold.
have a little
One, we
jokey
get the
joke.
beheading in the very, very beginning that you just noticed, and I didn't really think about it that way because it happened after the fact. Like Greg's head's off, so he was
But
beheaded.
then Chad going beheadings.
Yeah.
I've been saying that
I missed
all throughout
that.
my regular day. I've just been going beheadings. And people are
I
like,
feel
"What?"
like the end scene or the end fight is like so fast paced that I miss so many of those jokes. I totally miss that. I miss when all of Quinn's teeth get like jacked out of her mouth. Like
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
it was so fun to watch this again because there's so many details I missed the first time because I was too busy being a hater.
Yeah, honestly, it was really interesting to watch it a second time and see the Ghostface strategy at play. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of the kills are by the dad, who I would
Yeah,
like
like-
to discuss later on how long he's been a police officer. Like, was Richie's dad always a police officer? But for the purposes of this
was.
argument, I'm going to say yes.
He was, and then he transferred to New York. That's why I got confused. I thought that he wasn't a police officer and that he became a police officer in the last year, but he's been a police officer for a while and he transferred to New York in the last year.
Well, that's what Quinn says. And so I think it's like
Well,
a little
yeah, true.
debatable, because I think if Richie's dad was a police officer, that would have made news coverage, you know what I mean? And so like I think that is one of the
Yeah.
like potential holes for the Ghostface this time around, is that I think it would have been hard for them to be completely unrecognizable to our characters. But that aside, I think if he's been a police officer this whole time, it makes sense that Ghostface is handling himself with a weapon well, and action well, in fight scenes well. You know what I mean? Like, this is not somebody who's doing any of this for the first time necessarily. This is someone who has a background that lends itself to being savvy in these situations. That said, I think the whole bumbling Ghostface idea concept is so interesting because, like, in this film and in others, Scream 2 specifically, actually, what I always think is interesting, in this one, they were leaving the masks whenever they did a killer, and they were like counting backwards or whatever. First of all,
fun.
they were like, there are 9 masks, but this one is for both. So they're only leaving 1 mask for each like event or whatever. But so they're clearly counting down to something. They have like a set number of murders or attacks that need to take place before the finale. In Scream 2, they were killing people with the same name, or at least one same name as the people who had died in the first Scream, and so they were like referencing that. And so to some degree, the attacks on the main characters, you have to be like, okay, are they even really trying to kill Sam and Tara right now? Because they have a whole speech that they're going to do later on. They haven't finished counting down to that yet. So, like, how much of this is just like psychological warfare, and how much of this is like a genuine threat to our main characters at this point in the story? I always think it's like interesting with the like, was Ghostface really trying to kill them in the bodega? Would Ghostface actually have killed them in the bodega if he had been able to? I don't know. I kind of think no, that was just an attack. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of it is just like setting the scene, sort of.
And
that said, if they
they
make
could
it
have
easy,
killed,
you know?
they could have killed Mindy in that moment too. Like when Mindy
In the
gets
apartment?
stabbed in the subway. Oh,
Oh, in the subway, yeah.
yeah, there definitely could have inflicted more pain in that moment, but they didn't, and I thought that was interesting.
That said, I think that one was a Quinn one, and so I think that you can kind of parse it out if you want to and be like, the dad was really good at it, Quinn maybe less good at it.
Well, Quinn's the one who did Gail, and that was pretty good.
Yeah.
She took down
That's
that
true.
boyfriend in a moment, and that guy was
Poor Gail.
hot and buff and cool. Poor guy. He
And
had
had
1 second of screen time.
I mean, Quinn did a good job. I liked that they fake killed Quinn so early on, because we've had like the fake out death before. Like, Roman fake died before the end in Scream 3, and Charlie was like held hostage by the killer and like tied up, and that was Kirby's whole scene in Scream 4, and seemingly died before the reveal at the end. So I like that they did it way earlier to throw us off. I think they did it really well too, because the Paramore in the bathtub, that reveal worked just to be like, lots of murders are happening. See, it's crazy. But also it worked to like help fake Quinn's death, because there was so much blood that they could just like slather all over her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought that they set that up well. I did think it was a little confusing with like Danny peeping in through the window and seeing what he saw, because like, how much were they like putting on a puppet show for them? How much were they counting on Danny seeing anything? But whatever. I think that the Gail boyfriend should have been a girlfriend. I'm sorry. You're gonna put Mindy on screen in her shirt that says Lavender Menace, being like, this is the gay color, lavender, and then you're gonna put Gail in the same scene wearing lavender, but then you're gonna give her a boyfriend? That is an insult to lesbians everywhere. I think that's fucked up.
Agree, that's fucked up. That's queer baiting if I've ever heard of it. God damn.
If I've ever heard of it, putting her in lavender with the Lavender Menace t-shirt nearby, an unfulfilled promise.
All we needed was Lavender Haze by Taylor Swift playing in the background at Gail's apartment.
I don't need that because I don't like that song that much, but fair
Oh my
point.
god, I love that song.
I just feel like Gail has a lot of queer potential. They really kind of...
I would love that.
Here was my problem with Scream 4, and maybe it's just because I'm not super familiar with like late 90s trends, early 2000s fashion trends or whatever, but Gail and Sydney's styling in Scream 2 and Scream 3 and the first Scream for Gail were so like queer coded in many ways, and then they just really walked that all back starting in Scream 4. It came back for Sydney a
Yeah.
little in Scream 5, but they weren't giving what they used to be giving.
I think that was just the
No, they got
90s,
this
and
normie
everybody was
style.
dressed queer coded because it was
Sydney
grunge.
was like a little mask though.
Yeah, that was
Sydney
just
in her
the 90s.
muscle shirts.
That's
Come
literally just the
on.
90s, Chelsea. Like
No,
that is
it's
just
not
90s
to me.
aesthetic. It is. It's literally just the 90s aesthetic.
To me, it was gay, and you can't tell me it wasn't. And I think Gail and Dewey had a really beautiful romance, but I think if she has to move on from Dewey, it should be with a lady.
She hasn't had time to explore sexuality because been with Dewey for 25 years.
Yeah,
or
but they've been
however
on
many-
and off for 25 years.
Exactly. Well, I know, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying now is the time
Okay.
to
Okay.
explore. We're on the same page. My God.
Do you think there was chemistry between Gail and Kirby?
No, she called her a zygote.
Yeah,
was
but
funny.
That was so
I
funny. She's like,
loved
I'm
them.
30. You're a
Yeah.
literal zygote.
I loved them being so country to each other, which is why I kind of am like interested in them continuing to be bitchy little frenemies.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
I
I
also,
think it's
you know,
I'm glad they brought Kirby back for this because I love Kirby. I wish that she had more of her like Kirby spark like that she had in the last one, but like, maybe she'll get back more into the character as she
Hayden
goes along.
Panettiere has had a rough like 5 years. So
yeah.
we're
She's
gonna
had a
give her
rough time.
that.
Yeah, we'll give her whatever she
And
wants.
she was like, I'm not sure if I can still act, but I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
And I thought they did an okay job with Kirby in general, but I think enough of her needed to be sort of mysterious or off the page a little bit for the
Yeah.
sake of the plot of the film. But
Totally.
now that
I think
we've reintroduced her, there's space.
it's like a little like on the nose. They're like, this is the new Sydney, that legacy Sydney. You know what I mean? They're like, oh,
Mhm.
we lost this legacy character. Let me give you another one. But that said, I still love her. And I thought that was really fun. One thing I will say, I was really not like hugely into Melissa Barrera in the last movie. I just like wasn't really into her steez, but I think that she was like a lot stronger this time around, and I liked her a lot more. And I think maybe that was because there was so much less Ghost Billy. But there
Yes.
still was Ghost Billy. There was
Yes.
still Ghost Billy. I was like, no, please,
Here's the
please.
thing.
But I think some people liked that. I'm not that person though.
Here's my thing. They committed to the bit, and I can respect that. Like they doubled down on it.
Fair.
I'm glad.
They're
that
like,
it
actually,
wasn't-
Ghost Billy's cool. And he doesn't look old.
I'm glad that he was in like one place because like he did look older in this movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Even though
here's
they
the
made
thing.
it so hard to see him.
Why not make him like decrepit? You know what I mean? Like big, like scary
Zombie
ghost.
Billy.
Yeah, zombie
Oh
Billy.
yeah, they could have made him like
I told
dead.
you last time I wanted gunshot in the forehead, Billy.
Yeah, I think that would have
Yeah.
been easier.
Here's my pitch
He
for
could have
that
been, like,
once
covered in
more.
blood.
I want to say that Skeet is still hot though. Just want to say that really quickly.
Skeet is
Just
still
because
hot.
he doesn't look like he's 18 years old doesn't mean he's not so sexy, but he doesn't look like he's 18 years old. What were you going to say, Chelsea?
My whole thing about her having the hallucinations of her dead serial killer father is that either he shouldn't be old, which would be hard to accomplish realistically filming the movie, or he should be her idea of him, which then should have like, why is she picturing him in his final outfit from Scream, first of all, unless she has seen like maybe there were crime scene
'Cause
photos
there's
that Gail
picture
published.
of him everywhere.
Well, but he's not covered in the blood in that picture. they wouldn't have a picture of him from the final scene unless there were crime scene photos that Gail published, which I'm willing to believe that she did. And I'm willing to believe that Sam saw them and internalized that. That's why he should have the bullet in his head. Or it would be funny. It shouldn't be Luke Wilson instead of Skeet Ulrich. It should be Skeet Ulrich, but it would be funny if it was Luke Wilson who played Billy in Stab, because it would make more sense for her vision of him to be based on like what she can actually see for herself in the movie rather than one photo maybe she saw one time. But I accept that it is what it is, and I think it's great. And I was actually very happy with the use of Ghost Billy in this film, which had been a big concern for me after Scream 5, because I was like, I think it would be cheap if they didn't do it at all. I think it would be weird to do it again as like the same bit, though. I think doing it in the like stressful moment where he's not really like a problem overall, like her overall issue with this has kind of been addressed and contained to whatever degree, but in this high stress moment she's like falling back on it a little, not being haunted by it, but being sort of like guided by it when she needs a little extra oomph of strength or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, I love that Ghost Billy is like, I'm going to be a father now and be like, you know better than this. Like, I don't feel like that's in Billy's character, especially at like 17, you know?
But she doesn't know Billy. She never met him.
Exactly. It's
herself,
not
so
actually him.
room.
It's her. It's her idea.
But so she should know that he's not going to be a fatherly figure. You know,
she wants a fatherly figure.
You know, she's working it out. She would be working it out in therapy, but the cop got him in the eye. He got.
That said, I did like that he got while it was the scene from Invasion. That's like, you're next.
That was beautiful. That was
poetic, actually.
And to get the glass smashed and him stabbed right through, I thought that was like very efficiently handled.
I also think just back to the Melissa Barrera Sam aspect of it, I do like that she likes to kill and she's like dealing with that.
I think she should embrace it a little more. I don't think that's a bad thing for her, and the way that she feels it's a bad thing for her, because clearly she does not feel the urge to do so and to be violent the rest of the time. But in these moments when violence is called for and needed and necessary, why shouldn't she embrace it a little and be like,
why shouldn't she do a little overkill? Well, she does.
That is kind of and that is kind of what gets her in this situation, I guess, is that like
she has the fastest arm I've ever seen.
The way she pin cushions them. Yeah.
I was like, this girl is like ripped. She must work out.
She's doing 1,000 push-ups every day. But that's what they like cite as the inspiration for why this whole movie happened, is because they were like, it's not just that you killed Richie, it's not just that was our son and we want to like restore his good name to whatever degree we are able to, it's also that like you really fucking killed him, like you stabbed him 22 times, then you slit his throat, and then you shot him in the head. So
yeah, she fucking wrecked his shit.
Yeah.
Deserved.
I liked that was part of the motivation. Not just you killed Richie, but the way that you killed Richie inspired such a fury in me that I devised a plan to follow through on.
And I did really like that they're like, Quinn started the rumor online. Like that they like have this like the whole like assassinate their character first part that Ethan goes off on is so funny. So funny. It's just like, it's not enough to kill someone, you have to assassinate their character.
It's all about the tropes of the time, baby.
You gotta cancel him. It's important.
I did feel like that aspect of the film could have had a little more to it, maybe. I'm not sure what that would have looked like and what I would have wanted, but my first watch through, I felt like the film was sort of lacking something to say about the state of horror these days. Like Scream 5 came in really clear with message and meta and like the ownership that fans have over a franchise, and I felt like that was a little lacking in this one, other than them like throwing out, you have to assassinate someone's character. Not that the like cancel culture aspect of it wasn't in the film, because we see her get the drink thrown on her. We see that used to like cast suspicion. I don't know. I feel like I wanted it a little bit more. Don't know what that would have looked like, but I'm not a professional writer, so that's fine. Actually, it's not my job. But I don't know. I felt like they mentioned it, and it wasn't not present, but I wanted there to be more clearly conveyed whatever they were trying to say with it.
Totally.
There was a lot of, so we talked earlier about how this movie is like a clear reference to Scream 2.
A clear
Yes.
reference.
A clear reference. And one of my favorite, like, absolute clear references, there's two. So, and they both come from Mindy. If we don't forget, Mindy and Chad are Randy's niece and nephew.
Heather Matarazzo come back for Scream 3 or Scream 7 Stab the musical.
Yeah, the musical.
Oh my god.
Mindy explains, she goes over all the rules, which Randy does that in Scream 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also get Kirby's trying to trace a call, and they're using Sam and Tara as bait.
The Randy of it all.
Yes, the Randy of it all. Randy. Sorry.
Stop. That's his name. Leave him alone.
I can't help it. Mindy tells Kirby, and she is like, this is exactly how my uncle died, in a van in broad daylight. Stab,
People
stab,
all
stab,
around.
dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I love Mindy. Like,
She is my favorite character.
one of my favorite, also like really small things, was because Chad and Ethan were also sitting in the van, and Ethan just like hands Chad a bag of Cheetos.
Sorry for your loss, man. Here's a Cheeto.
Sorry about your uncle. Would you like some Cheetos?
Sorry, bro.
If it was
that
a
sucks.
flaming
Have
hot
a
Cheeto,
Yeah.
maybe it would be a good offer, but it's regular, so no.
But yeah, I mean, I did love that scene, both because I liked it as a callback to Scream 2, and also because I felt like it was good for raising the stakes of that scene, where it's like, just because they're out in public, just because the sun is out, just because there's two of them, let me remind you that doesn't necessarily mean everything's gonna be okay.
I mean,
no.
shit.
Yeah. But I will say, before we talk, well, I was gonna say before we talk about the end, but let's just talk about the end.
Well, okay, I have one thing I want to say before the
Okay.
end. I love that this whole movie takes place on Halloween weekend, because I just really appreciated all of the Halloween costumes that I got to see that were references to movies that I like.
Yeah.
Like the Hellraiser one was really good. We saw some people
Well,
in the Us jumpsuits.
We got
there
to
was-
see the Ready or Not Samara Weaving's character. Like, she's in it.
Well, yeah, I just mean like people dressed up in costumes from movies that I like.
That's what she's
so
talking
there was
about.
like,
That's what
oh,
I said.
someone was
Like,
dressed up as her. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. And I
like
also
in the wedding
and there
dress
was,
with like all the stuff.
Mhm.
and
the
hair.
flower outfit from Midsummer.
Yeah.
Somebody was just a big eyeball in the park, and I really liked that too.
The Babadook was
and
there,
it-
queer icon, the Babadook.
Yeah, and I think that having all those extra Ghostface in the subway scene was just like really effective. That like I was on the edge of my seat that whole scene. I loved it.
I will say I felt like the subway scene was one of the moments where I wanted it to be more New Yorky than just existing on the subway. Like after my first watch through, that was one of the moments where I was like, I either want them to be like, it's New York, everything happens here on the subway, and forget about it. You know how New Yorkers sound.
Chelsea,
Chelsea, that
don't
was so New York. It was so New York. The fucking train wasn't working. The lights were going off. It was a commentary
People
on the
were
MTA
ignoring-
about how they fucking suck.
And people were ignoring everything, which is like a literal
No,
thing.
what I wanted
Yeah,
was
where
them to
someone's
be.
getting murdered in front of you and the person is asleep. That's the most New York
That's
thing
so
ever.
New York.
That was the
Um,
most New York
You're
thing
not
of the
letting
whole
me finish
movie.
my thought just because I did a funny impression. What I was saying
that we're gonna get canceled for by the
Forget
entire city.
about it.
Canceled.
On my
She's
first watch through,
canceled.
I felt like that was a missed opportunity to either have New Yorkers fucking shit up or actively noticing but being like, not my problem. That said, on the second watch through, I was like, well, the bodega does that for me. So I don't need it in both scenes. And the girl sleeping was good. But I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Mindy gets like pushed off screen until the end at that moment. and then we have the whole theater stuff. And I felt like there was a lot more of that in this film than in the other films, where it's like someone gets got early on and is maybe dead, and then they're like, actually, it's fine. There was like
Well,
so
I knew
much of
Mindy
that this
wasn't
time.
dead. I knew Mindy wasn't dead. She was obviously not dead because she was like making jokes as she was sitting there. So I was like, well, she's not gonna die.
Oh my god. Her when he's like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, what did she say?
She was mad. She got
like,
it wrong.
I can't believe I got it wrong again. It's
Again.
so funny, but she wasn't wrong. She was right. But yeah, I loved the theater that they made. I loved the shrine to Scream because and I love that it was revealed that it was Richie's because he's such a little fucking bitch. Oh my god. Like they just continue that theme so well. The fact that his little bitch ass home movies are playing on the big screen
Oh
and
my
his
God.
daddy's like, it's amazing. It's just like, this is what happens when you praise your children too much. Okay. You gotta give them a
relate.
little bit of reality. Just a little bit. Like,
But yeah, I mean, when they introduced the theater earlier on, they were like, how'd they get all this stuff? And I think Gail says, like, well, some police officers are greedy and want to make a buck and they'll sell things out of evidence. No big deal. And then at the end, when you find out who Ghostface is and that one of them was a police officer, presumably has been a police officer for the whole time. When Richie was like starting his collection, and that's probably like when he was getting things from evidence in whatever ways. I thought that made a lot of sense. That tracked.
Enabling him.
Yeah.
Enabling him to be a killer. Oh my god. Imagine their dynamics. Did they kill the mom? Is that why there's no mom? Where's the mom? They killed her. Or she was like, my kids are insane. I gotta get out
My
of here.
family is insane and I don't like their vibe.
My family is going to do mass murders later on. I'm
curious. I'm curious about the mom.
I know.
She's gonna
plot
star in
hole,
the
or she's
musical.
coming back for a Scream 7. That would be ridiculous if they do that 2 movies in a row. They gotta wait 3 movies before they bring the mom back. But yeah, I liked all the little diagrams too. I thought it was really interesting when Kirby had to confront the weapon that like killed her for 4 minutes. That was like emotionally poignant. But you know what's gonna happen. You know that you can't kiss and continue to live. But the fact that Jenna Ortega, Tara, and Chad made out and immediately Tara was stabbed. Immediately. Immediately. It's just like they can't have 1 second of peace. They can't have one hot, sexy makeout. They can't joke about 100-year-old candy.
Sexy surprise impromptu makeout face grab. I love.
They're so cute.
They grew on me.
Protecting her.
Yeah, they grew on me for sure.
Yeah. I was
that
fully
said,
in by the end.
Yeah, this is why I compared Chad to Dewey, though, is like he is the new Dewey in the sense that he gets killed, you're almost certain to death. And like the premise is that the characters think that he is fully dead, not like Gail, where they were like, she had a weak pulse as she was like being pulled off screen, not like Mindy, who was like still talking last we saw her, even though, you know, could have gone either way, maybe. But they're like, he's fully dead. We saw him get stabbed by 2 Ghostface a bazillion times. And then in the very last moments, they're always going to be like, oh my God, Chad survived. And I'm like willing to let them do that because they did that with Dewey in the first Scream, in the second Scream, less so in the third Scream. By the third Scream, they were like, little different now. But I
don't do it the next time. Like,
I'm willing to let them get away with it
so
a little.
Times.
It is an homage for now to me. But the fact that literally every legacy character survived the final showdown, I thought was a choice that I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because I'm glad that they're all still around, still kicking, but also when they kept doing...
Core
Core
4.
4 plus.
Right?
When they kept being like, anybody can go, even a main character, even a legacy character, and all of the marketing for this movie, all of the actors kept being like, everyone's expendable now, and then they literally all survive. Like, I feel like that's a little cheap, maybe, but also maybe it is them saying
Let
that
me
not
have joy,
to
Chelsea.
yeah,
Let
that
me have joy.
maybe they were saying that to like allow space for all of them to survive and for that to be a little surprise. Actually,
they're not
nobody
dead.
dies. Yeah. But like I wouldn't have wanted any of them to die. That
No,
said,
none of them are allowed to die.
it is a little hard to be like, here are the stakes of the film, but we're only gonna kill characters that you either just met or don't really care about.
True. I mean, they could have killed Gale, but I mean, then they would be really closing the door on the last ones, and it's too soon.
Yeah.
I think
If they're like immediately like Sydney's out, bye, then like it would piss a lot of people off. So they got to keep
Mhm.
her around at least one more.
I think Gail should be an opening credit, like an opening scene girl. I think that would truly like be a shocking opening
I'm not
scene.
ready. I'm not ready for that yet. She just got stabbed 5 minutes ago for me.
I think
Sydney.
they could do
God.
like a sort of turn, like kind of like this
That or
opening
it's gonna be
scene
Kirby.
where Gail is the initial victim, but she turns the table and unmasks the ghost face. But then there's another ghost face, maybe, and so they're like running to catch up. I don't know. I feel like there's room for Gail to do a lot more really fun things, and I would like that for Gail instead of Gail showing up to get punched in the face, be a little snarky.
Write another book.
Yeah, like I want something exciting for Gail. Give her a storyline, maybe. Have they considered that?
That would be great. That would be really cool.
Right? Like what if the Ghostface is like now targeting Gail?
That said, I liked that she finally got a Ghostface call in this movie, and I liked that they like
Yeah, that
reference
was
that
fun.
she's never had one before. Although on IMDb trivia it was like, how would these Ghostface know that? But presumably she writes about it in her books.
Yeah.
She was meant to get one in Scream 2, and that's the phone call that Randy picks up. But it is interesting. It's so weird though, the way that Ghostface before their reveals kind of have this like pseudo shared
Agenda?
identity with all of the Ghostface that have come before them, where they kind of been like, it's a long time since we've talked, Sidney. And it's like, actually, all the previous Ghostface are dead, so this is the first time that you're talking to Sidney.
Yeah, but they all know they're carrying on
These
a
are all
legacy.
high camp. Yeah, these are campy boys. Okay, they're like, we're gonna pretend. It's
I'm
the same
assuming, yeah.
specter.
I'm slipping into the role.
I will say that even though I was being a little pissy bitch the first time I watched this movie, the end scene was so badass that like I was still happy there. Because I just loved how our girls like fucking wrecked shit. They're so dope in this part of the movie. Like just that like I liked watching Tara's character be really terrified in the first like instance while this is happening because she's just watched her boy get stabbed to fucking death. And she's fucking freaking out finally, but then she like shores up and does that like banshee scream, like come
She
and get
bricks
her,
up,
motherfucker!
okay?
Oh my god,
We get
it's
Tara literally
so
bricked
good.
up.
Yeah, I
Bricked
mean,
up, Quinn's teeth all over the floor, hot, amazing,
That
love it.
was such a great scene. Also, okay, the part where you have Ethan and Quinn still in Ghostface and they like synchronize like their blades, that like scratched an itch in my brain that I didn't know needed scratching.
I liked that. I liked that for them.
liked
They
it.
had
I
that
liked
fun
it.
little family dynamic for sure.
Oh yeah, they're little sadists. They wanted to torture these baby girls.
It is a family, the family that slays together stays together.
So
I'm
true,
always saying that.
bestie.
I am always saying that.
I gotta tell my family we have to up our slay game.
It's true for Tara and Sam too. And I
Yeah.
liked that we saw them both going like balls to the wall in their own way. Where Tara is not afraid to get her hands dirty and to kill someone and to fucking go for it and be like, let me go so I can kill this bitch. I'm gonna stab him in his mouth. I liked that
And then she
Ethan.
whispers, "Yeah, you're gonna die a virgin." Oh
Yeah.
my
So good.
god. Yes. If you're gonna get to kill someone, like that's the best line to be able to say.
But I liked that he was later revealed he didn't die from that also, because I think it was like fitting characterization to be like Tara will kill to survive. Sam will fucking overkill because once the beast is released, she kind of likes it.
She does it for
Mhm.
funsies.
Yeah, she's enjoying herself and she's gonna have a good time with it. And she, with the dad, is stabbing all up and down his fucking arms.
Yes, because he's
Um,
got the bulletproof vest on, so she's getting him where she can.
She's like, guess what, bitch? And then she like is like, oh, Tara's watching me now. Should I hold back? And Tara's like, girl, come on. And she's like, you're right, girl. You are right, girl. Let me get him. I just thought it was
So
fun.
good.
I thought them like
Right in the eye.
yeah, them
Mhm.
like closing it off to make it like a kill box for Ghostface, and making it a kill box for themselves, I thought was very fun and was like a well used set piece for sure.
Yeah.
I thought Kirby kind of being sidelined for most of that scene was, you know, an important narrative choice, but a little bit sad for Kirby stardom. But
Yeah.
her getting to come back at the end and finish Ethan off with the TV and then be like, I saw that in a scary movie once. Like, loved that.
Great line.
Um,
Yeah.
I just think they had a lot of fun with the finale for sure. And I
Yeah,
loved
it was a riot. It was a riot. I was
Mhm.
laughing. I was screaming. I was grasping Chelsea's arm ferociously. You know, it had everything I needed.
and for them to have the like written and directed by Richie Kirsch like on the torn projector
loved
screen
that
as they're
visual.
walking out on the stage. Yeah, like
Yes.
great visual. For
So
them to
good.
show the like burned ghost face at the end of his movie, and then like the actual ghost face mask on the like streets of New York as they like walk away, I thought was like a nice visual parallel too.
Yeah.
I
And
just
then
thought they
we
had,
get a
they had
hot
fun.
neighbor coming in with like all the cops. And
Yes.
he was like, I
Mhm.
thought you might need this. And I was like, hot neighbor, I love you.
That's
Yeah, I
me.
hope we get a lot more of him in
I'm
the
excited
next
for.
one.
Yeah, I'm excited for
Yeah.
more of him next time around. Yeah.
It's
okay.
gonna be interesting if they stay in New York or if
Yeah.
they like go somewhere else.
Presumably, they've
They'll
got
be
3
on
more years of college to complete.
vacation. Vacay.
Or Stu is finding them in Sydney's safe spot. I'm just saying.
Or it's like, I know what you did last summer, and they're like in like, I don't even know, vacation spot.
They went a
and
fake vacation.
They went
Summer
a fake
vacation.
vacation.
Yeah,
That's- I know what you did last summer too. I still know what you did last summer.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
love
Sorry, I wasn't
the-
saying it was that one.
I do love this Stu Sydney idea though, because I feel like if they're gonna bring back Matthew Lillard and reprise Stu's role, you know,
He
I'll
kinda
find a
has
way
to
to,
be
I
in
mean,
it.
I'd get on board with it no matter what, I'm sure. But I found it very meaningful that after Neve got snubbed, Matthew Lillard like spoke out about it and was like, that's fucked up. Like, they
Yeah.
paid Tom Cruise whatever he wanted for the new Top Gun movie, I bet. They didn't ask him, like, oh, that's too much or whatever. So if he came back, and Neve still hadn't come back, I would be like a little sad about it. I'm
Yeah.
sure they would have whatever friendship privately that they have, that they would have like been cool with that if that is what happens. But if he comes back, I would love it if they both did. So to me, they're bestie.
Yeah.
And I would like that to be the case. So
I think one can't come back without the other. So if Neve comes back, Maddie Lily has to come back.
maybe they do a little whole Ghostface family retreat where Kirby says, we're a part of the same fucked up family now. Like all the Woodsboro survivors
That is
are going to
just
do a
all,
little
like,
retreat.
a calling card. Hello, killers.
Hello,
Come
we
to
are
this cabin
conveniently
the
all in the
woods.
same spot. Don't you love
You
that?
won't believe this. Oh my
Mhm.
god. All right, well, is it time to move on to our segments?
I think.
I think so.
I think so. All right, we gotta ask it every time. Even though we have canon gay characters this time, it can always be gayer. How could this movie be gayer?
Jason and Greg, did they know Richie personally, or did they just know him online? I would love if there was some homoeroticism somewhere in that triangle.
Well, Greg and Jason are dating. They're partners.
Cute. Love that for
And
them.
said, honey, I'm home. And it wasn't
That's
a joke. It's
so
true.
real. Ethan and Chad did have that moment that could have been fleshed out a little more, frankly. But the moment was there.
Then
You can't
Ethan,
take the moment away
hated
from
him
me.
so much, actually, calling him like a narcissistic jock. And I was like, you shut your
Yeah,
mouth
because
when
he's
you're talking
jealous
about
because
my
he wants his
husband.
body and he can't have it. Both he wants to have that body and he wants to be on that body.
That's
Enemies
Cuba
to
Gooding
lovers.
Jr.'s son you're talking about.
Put some respect
Shut
on
the
his
fuck up.
name. Okay, we said this. Gail could have had a little girlfriend.
Yes.
Kirby
I
has a
still really
girlfriend
want
back in
that.
Atlanta.
He
That's
does.
fact.
Oh, I
He
believe
does
that.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were having their like gay to gay movie talk. That's what that was. It was just they're looking at each other and they're like they're saying things about scary movies, but underneath it they're saying, I'm gay too. That's so cool. I love that we're both gay together. That was a subtext that you weren't maybe
I
picking
think.
up if you weren't
Yeah.
paying
I mean,
attention. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what we do every week on this podcast. So
Yeah,
I
like,
feel like
if
our
you-
listeners absolutely are picking up what they are putting down.
If
They
you
listen to
play the
us.
podcast in reverse, like Floop is a madman, help us save us, it's us being like, I'm gay, you're gay,
Gay.
everybody's gay, we're gay, we're gay, blah 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 blah. That's what happens. You might find that hard to believe, but it's true.
Actually, what is happening?
I wouldn't find it hard to believe at all if I were the listener.
Oh, I love it. I want to say just like I really liked Annika and Mindy together, and so R.I.P. They're really cute. They had cute
They were really
chemistry.
cute.
They
I'm
were cute.
sad.
Yeah, I liked them. I think we could have, again, Annika was there for 5 seconds, so I wish we had
I
gotten
know.
a little more.
I'm like, 5 more.
But I did like them,
But they
and I liked
sidelined
that
her
she
when
had.
she was in the apartment because
Yeah.
they were doing core 4 shit. So
Yeah.
that just sucks for her.
I liked that she had a girlfriend also. I thought that was nice because there was Frances who she was maybe going to hook up with in the last one. But given that Tara and Amber were such like a homoerotic little bestie pair in the last one, I'm glad that there was like more actual gay stuff this time around within the film itself, not just within my subtext.
Totally.
So, but there's always room for more. Given
There's
that
always room
Tara
for more.
and her ex-bestie clearly to me had vibes, I would love to see Jenna Ortega confront that in a future Scream movie.
Yeah, if Chad ever real dies, then she can have a girlfriend next. But we're not.
Or when
there
she
yet.
goes
I
to
want
therapy
Chad to live forever.
in the next one, she can confront that it wasn't just her older sister's love interest; it was her love interest too.
Ooh, I trusted her. I gave
She
her
goes to
my
therapy, she
inhaler and my
untoxins.
heart.
Monica, I loved that.
Thank you so much. I was like very proud of it. I was like, good job as it came out. Okay, any more gay people, gay vibes, gay things? I
The
don't wanna
boyfriend,
take-
I feel like, is straight, actually, Danny. But he's one of those
He's-
straight guys that is like, all of his friends are
Ally.
gay. Yeah, all of his friends are gay, I think.
I love that for him.
He's
Yeah,
the token
he's
straight.
very straight. We love
Mhm.
that for him. There's got to be some straight representation, I guess.
And he's a straight man written by a woman in my mind. So he's perfect.
Okay, I think these are pretty good. That brings us to where would Matthew Lillard be in this movie?
Okay, technically Matthew Lillard was in this movie. He had
Yeah.
his picture on the little murder whiteboard, and I was like, oh, what a great picture of Matty Lily.
It's a really cute picture of him.
It
What
was
great
so
picture
good.
of him.
Honestly, he ate Billy up. Like, why would you put that picture of Billy next to that picture of Stu?
And they had his
Delicious.
smoking robe jacket on one of the mannequins in the shrine, which
missed
I thought was
that.
great. Because what a sexy little jacket it was, if you'll recall.
I really want him to come back.
I do
And I don't know if it'll
too.
ever happen, but every movie I'm gonna be like, this will be the one until I die. That's what I'm gonna think. Unless they give me what I want. And then what if they give me what I want and it's not that good? No, they do a good job. They're good at writing. Okay, all right. I just almost had a crisis. It's gonna be all right.
What if they give me what I want and it's bad? No, they wouldn't do that to me.
We already had
No,
our
they could never do
crisis
that to
about
me.
this last Scream, so I think it's
Yeah.
they still
Well, he did-
tentatively have my trust.
Yeah. I still had it. Yeah. I still had a really good time. Feels good. All right.
Okay,
well,
so Dumb
Matthew
Bitch?
Lillard was in this movie. He was in it.
Oh.
Dumb bitch.
Yeah,
I was saying he's in it. We don't have to put him in it. He's in it.
he's in it. He's in it. Dumb
He's in
Bitch.
it.
I think that Jason obviously is a great candidate for Dumb Bitch. Not only did he deviate from his and Greg's Ghostface plan to do an unsanctioned killing of Samara Weaving, who is so gorgeous, stunning, beautiful.
Yeah.
He killed his lovely, sexy, wonderful teacher just because he wrote a bad paper. She doesn't like the stab
Sounds like a him
movies.
problem.
But I mean, we've never seen the stab movies for ourselves, so maybe they're not that good. Although
We saw
Kirby
the
loves
intros
them,
and
so.
Sydney hated them. So
That's true. That's true. They bring in time travel and all that stuff. We know that they go off the rails, so I think that she's
They
justified.
go to space.
even though Jason X is a master class in cinema,
Yeah.
so it's not
But
always bad when they go to space.
Jason, I think, is a really good candidate, both because of that and because he doesn't question the phone call from Ghostface nearly enough. Like, he's already described what it feels like to kill somebody before he's like, let me make sure this is really Greg. So that's
so
dumb
fucked
bitch
up. That was
behavior.
visceral.
Yeah, to be
I
like,
also
just an animal, just meat.
Yeah, I
Every
hate
day
his
my
monologue
stash.
about that.
Tony Revolori
Hate
did a
that.
really
It was
good job,
but
though.
it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
also feminist Ghostface, I love. We stand.
Yeah, I mean,
actually feel like-
I'm ready to
Just give it to
have it
him.
be
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah, no, it's Jason. I don't have anyone else to bring because they did a pretty good job
They-
planning out their murders.
I
That was
agree.
good. They did a good job. That was well thought out. They
And
planned it
nobody
to
else
a
was
T.
like particularly dumb trying to evade Ghostface either. Like, our
No.
core four, they're smarties, they're veterans at this point. Like, Gail and Kirby are both giving it their all. They weren't being really dumb at any particular
No.
point. I think it's just Jason.
The only person who could have usurped him is Greg, but we don't know because his head's already off. I mean, you gotta be pretty dumb to get beheaded before the movie even starts. Jesus Christ. So, well, that brings us to our knives out of 5s, and I think this is getting good reviews, right? What do the people of the world think?
Yeah, it's getting generally positive reviews. It's got 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 77% fresh from critics, which is pretty good. But if you thought that was pretty good, actually, I'm about to blow your mind because
What?
audiences gave it 92% fresh. Like, audiences are
fuck.
really liking it. Which is
They love
so
the core 4.
yeah, so interesting to me as someone who was being such a stinky little hater the first watch through. Because I did that research before I went to see it again today, and I like talked about it with some friends over the weekend, and 2 of them were like, I liked it and I thought it was fun. And I was like, oh really? Because blah 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 blah. And then one of them was
so great. You
That's
thought
so
that with your
interesting that you say
tiny
that.
brain.
I know. I was talking to
but
Lily,
no.
and she was like, "Okay, you are very into this franchise, so whatever you say." And I was like, "No, you need to agree." But I,
Poor
that-
Lily.
she didn't. She can have her own thoughts. That's allowed. But one of my other
Chelsea-
friends, yes.
What did I give Scream 5?
Oh, I'll pull up my records in a second.
Thank you. I need those on deck.
But one of my other friends was feeding my hate a little bit. And so I was really like, is there something wrong with me that I'm like, for the most part, the odd man out that didn't did I watch the movie wrong? A little bit, yes.
The answer's
I
yes.
think. Yeah.
No, yeah, we had
Um,
we were in a stinky bad moods, and we were next to each other, and so, or my stinky bad mood got into you. We did eat near each other, so I could have contaminated your spirit.
But here's a refresher for what we all gave Scream 5. Sydney, you gave it 4.5 knives out of 5s, and Monica and I both gave it 5 knives. Do you want to hear your Scream 1, 2, 3, 4 ratings as well? Or are you good?
No, I just need that one.
Okay.
I liked this one so much more than Scream 5.
Oh.
So I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5.
Oh.
Like, and my overall, I was like, I've been thinking about this.
It was the chest hair, right?
That was the chest hair. And honestly, beheadings.
Sure.
Literally, I almost peed myself. I was so
He's
funny,
so
and it was
cute.
so fast. And I was just like, ah. I think if I had to rank all of my screams, it would be 1, 3, 6, 2, 4, 5.
Oh, interesting.
Because like I rewatched before I watched this one, I rewatched 5 because like I wanted to see that one, and then I rewatched 2, and then I rewatched 4 because I felt like I've seen the first like 3 so much, but I haven't like revisited like 4 and 5 as much, and I like them, but like 2, I think 2, 4, and 5 are like the weakest of them, but this one is so funny, it's so bloody, it's so gory. I think it like really kind of brings it into like a new mindset. Like the first one, you're reintroducing like a lot of characters, and so it's always kind of like a little boring, but now we know the characters, and I know a lot of people don't like Sam, but I like her a lot.
I like her a lot now. Last movie,
Like,
I didn't think that, but this movie, she's really grown on me.
That's what I was saying. Like I didn't like, I thought Tara was cute, but like was just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like she was more of a background character.
Sam didn't get as much of a personality last movie, which was part of the issue. She just had a mission. And now she has more personality, which is nice.
Right? We got to see Chad's personality more. Like we really got to like, and they want us to get like attached to the core 4. And they brought in Hot Neighbor. And I'm sorry, but like he does it for me. He seals the deal.
I'm happy for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that you really liked it. I'm really glad I watched it again, and I really liked it a lot more upon second watch. I'm not gonna go full 5 on this because I still think there are some things about it that piss me off. I just think I don't like that I guessed right away.
Sure.
I don't think I'm a genius. I'm not a fucking genius. I'm wrong a lot of the time. I love to be right. Don't get me wrong. You listen to the pod, you know. But like I don't like that I could figure it out. Not that I was so sure. I was like I'm 100% sure, but I was like my first instinct, and I was suspect of those people the whole time, or at least Quinn and the cop. So I don't like that. I like to be surprised. I like to be bamboozled. And I've come to terms with the New York of it all. I think they did a good amount of New York, and if they had done too much New York, maybe it would have been like more New York. It would have been like overwhelming, and they weren't even there, so they were limited. Yeah, I think that they're geniuses, though. I think they've done a really good job of ingratiating an entire new generation into this franchise now. And that's what's happening. I mean, like, we grew up with this, so it's going to be hard for us. Oh my God, I mean, making it sound old. It's going to be hard for us
Kirby's
to,
age.
like, yeah, we're Kirby. To, like,
we're zygotes still. We're still young and fresh. Gail said.
Young and fresh and spicy and young. Again, we're saying young 5 times. But it's hard to like see like the changing of the guard, you know. It's like our babies are moving on. They're moving to a bunker so they don't die with hot sexy Patrick Dempsey, and we respect Sidney for that. But yeah, I mean, it's gotta be passed on to new people for it to continue on, and I would rather have more Scream movies than no more Scream movies, and I really like the people that they have chosen. So with my stinker attitude pushed aside, I think I'm gonna give this one a 4.78. I'm getting granular because I respect grumpy Monica, and I think she had some fair points, but we also like fun Monica, who watched it yesterday and laughed out loud so many times and just had a blast. So pretty good.
Yeah, I think it is tough when you have such a stinker perspective on your first viewing of the movie, because it is hard to know how much was like initial gut reaction to the film and how much of it was like maybe you were in a bad mood, and how do you parse that exactly. I feel like one of my main complaints the first time around was that I felt like there weren't really any emotional journeys for the characters at all, and I kind of take that back on a second viewing because I think when I was in a more receptive mood, I was able to like feel the emotion of those like quiet moments that the characters get where they're just like bonding or expressing themselves or whatever. Which to me was always really the strength of the first three films, is that like it was Sydney's emotional journey. You're getting like the insight into how Sydney is thinking and feeling. Like they were so much about her experience, not just what was happening to her, but her experience of that. And I think these, I would still like to see a little more of that in the new Screams, but when you have the quote unquote main characters, now sort of two main characters with Tara and Sam, and especially now that Mindy and Chad are getting more limelight as well, like it's hard to have so much of that for so many people. So on a second viewing, I am a lot happier with the amount that was there, and I connected to the amount that was there a lot more.
Yeah.
I would like to see them do something a little fresher with the franchise, maybe. Like, I appreciate that it's a Scream movie and they're giving me a Scream movie every single time, but now that we're moving on to movie number 7, I think it could be fun to shake up the formula a little more, other than just to be doing fun things with the openings. When I thought they were doing like a killer POV to some extent, I thought that was really interesting. When I thought we were getting like a killer who goes after the other Ghostface killers, I thought that was really interesting. I would be so open to one of the main characters being Ghostface in the future, so that we are doing something a little different. That said, even sticking to the basic concept formula, it's really fun and they always do a good job with it. So while I would love to see something different, I will see another Scream movie, whatever movie that happens to be, which is not how I felt when I walked out of the theater the first time. After I walked out of the theater the first time, I was like, I would not go out of my way to see another Scream movie.
Direct quote, we were standing in front of Cold Stones and she was like, I wouldn't go out of my way. I was like, well, I'm still going to see it on opening night, but my expectations are going to be under the ground. But
y'all were wrong. So
we've recovered.
I mean, the attitude that you bring to a film is so important.
Well, yeah, remember when we hated Scream 4 so much, or I hated Scream 4
but I was like, absolutely not. You will rewatch this.
Yeah, you guys were like,
I hated it.
Sydney was like,
so
you're wrong.
Much.
We were being little stinkers.
And then I loved it.
Sometimes a film needs a second watch. And my thing is that like I feel like I'm always trying to figure out what movie I'm watching as I'm watching it. With Scream, like you know what movie you're watching for the most part. So I like the first time around when I thought I was being given something new and then they took that away, I was just like a little annoyed. But once I was like able to just embrace and enjoy, I had a great time. So I think that I would give it like a 4.8 knives out of 5s, because I think Scream so often is a movie that wants to have something to say about franchises, and I think this one like literally had characters say things that were commentary, but the movie itself maybe could have engaged with that a little more.
Totally.
That said, it was fun. It was a blast. I'll be back next time.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. Core 4 forever, baby. Core 4.
Their embrace of the Core 4 felt very like Sidney getting us to say segmentos too. So, you know.
Segmentos!
I appreciate that.
I am the Chad of this.
You are the Chad.
You are the
Chad was great.
The Chad. Oh my
Beautiful
God.
Charlie's Angels reference.
Thank you.
Oh my God. We love that.
A little Drew Barrymore franchise hopping.
A clear reference.
I've got around my earrings right here that Monica gave to me.
Ooh.
I saw that. I was like, yes, she's finally wearing the earrings.
Anyway, what are we doing next, Monica?
Yeah, sorry, I was pulling up something that said stuff. I was being so quiet. All right, everyone. Next week is a big week. Because it's the biggest holiday of the year. It is my birthday. And it is also my 30th birthday. And so I already was going to get whatever I want because we get to have a birthday episode and we get to go buck wild. But now extra because it's my 30th birthday. And so, how many times on the podcast have I said, what are we going to do, Cloverfield? It's
The limit does
now.
not exist.
It's now. Well, it's going to end now because we're doing Cloverfield for my birthday. And not only that, we are collabing with another podcast that is one of my fave podcasts. We are collabing with Lauren from Keep It Weird. And we're really excited to have her on the pod with us and to see what her take is on this alien monster movie classic. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I've never
I
seen
haven't
it
seen
before.
this movie in so long. I don't remember what it's about.
Ooh, it was a contentious one. So
All I
back in the
know
day.
is the dad from Roseanne's in it. Yeah.
John
I
Goodman?
don't know who that is.
Yeah.
No,
John
that's the
Goodman.
wrong one. Don't watch the wrong one. Watch the original Cloverfield.
Oh, that's the one
not
with Mary Elizabeth
21
Winstead that you're
Cloverfield
thinking
Lane.
of.
That
I
one has
think.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that
Then
one
maybe I
eventually.
haven't
That one's
seen
interesting too.
Cloverfield.
Oh my god, fresh movie.
This one, oh my god, it
Oh.
takes place in New York. So that's the through line.
Oh, I wanted to say, how come nobody said I'm walking here? I think that the movie could have used that.
Chelsea.
Chelsea, have you been to New York? Like,
I haven't, but I have seen
Chelsea-
Miss Congeniality.
Chelsea's perception of New York is very skewed.
I just think if you're gonna be like, New York is the setting and it's so exciting, but we didn't film in New York, you have to throw in all the New York cliches. Why didn't anybody get a hot dog from a street vendor?
There was no bagels.
Where were the bagels? Oh my god! Sydney,
Chelsea
There better
had
be
an
bagels.
aneurysm. Oh my
There
God.
better be bagels in Cloverfield, Monica. Or
yeah,
Chelsea
isn't
and I
it
are
also
gonna
a New York
riot.
movie?
That's what I just said. That's why we talked about it again.
So I'm walking here in Cloverfield.
We'll see. Only time will tell if there were
The
hot dogs
monster
in
says, "I'm
Cloverfield.
walking here," as it's like smushing things
Plop,
with its
plop,
big feet.
plop.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
I
my
would
favorite part of the
love that.
movie. We're getting too far into Cloverfield in just the
Spoilers.
intro for it. Okay, we can't give away plot points, Chelsea. That's the climax of the film when the monster's like clomp, clomp, clomp. I'm walking. And then punches the fucking Statue of Liberty. Oh my god, the Statue of Liberty wasn't in this movie. What the fuck? Is it even New York if the Statue of Liberty wasn't in it?
That's what I'm
We've
saying.
gone off the rails. Anyway, so join us next week with Lauren from Keep It Weird as we get into Cloverfield, and the New York of it all. But why not, this is a big deal for us that we're doing another Scream movie because it is our origin story. So why not you say, great job, you've been doing this so long, in a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or one where you don't have to say anything on Spotify. Think about it. You could just say exactly that. Great job. You're still doing it. Proud of you. Great job. And we love to hear it, and we'll feel really good about ourselves. So consider it. Also, you should follow us on social media. We're coming out with TikToks you wouldn't believe, okay? So follow us. We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. We're also Spooky Tuesday Pod on Tumblr and Facebook. I forgot we have a YouTube that's also spooky_Tuesday. You got to get on that. And we're at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. So many options, many forms, many ways to play. Thank you for listening.
Sydney.
Bye, Spookies. Make them wait for it.
Sydney, say goodbye to the people.
Now put on the mask.
He was so pathetic. He was a man baby who made his girlfriend do all the killing.
He was a strong, virile young man.
He was a limp dick little fuck who cried before I slit his throat.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sidney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sidney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamra, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.